This is PlayerProps.ai. This for winners research. We run it up with every betting tool you know in each perk. Travis tested waters, help you swim even the feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you PlayerProps.ai. This for winners research. We run it up with every betting tool you know in each perk. Travis tested waters, help you swim even the feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you.
Hey guys, it's me Travis with PlayerProps.ai. This is what we're looking at for Wednesday's games. Quick recap, if you listen to the words that came out of my mouth yesterday, well, you had a lot more money at the end of the day than what you started with. I mentioned, and I still am going to mention it today, that we are 30-ish hours away from the end of the NBA trade deadline. If you didn't watch yesterday's show, first off, shame on you. Secondly, I was harping on fading unders across NBA everything, regardless of anything. No touchy, the unders. The unders, no touchy. The reason behind that is that the NBA trade deadline is crazy chaos. We know the super prolific names that are being targeted. Giannis is trying to get traded. Harden just got traded. All these big names, like, yeah, they're going to get traded. Maybe don't touch them. It's not just about them. You don't know what the trade capital is going to be for the team acquiring them. In the first massive trade yesterday, a few hours after my show dropped, it was Utah Jazz and the Memphis Grizzlies, I believe, and they both traded 4 players each. And so pretty much any under on that game was no bueno, because the people that were actually still playing for the teams had a lot more minutes to soak up. This doesn't end until Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, I believe. So for today, Wednesday, for tomorrow, I would probably still avoid it all of tomorrow as well on Thursday. Don't return to looking at unders until Friday. But even on top of that, as we move forward with NBA, and this is the same for any trade deadline. I mean, NBA is typically the craziest trade season. MLB isn't really that crazy compared to NBA. NFL's not really that crazy compared to NBA. Because so many players are getting swapped, there's a lot of things you have to pay attention to. Now, after the trade deadline's over, how are the new players on the team going to what kind of minutes are they going to expect? What are they going to soak up? So essentially for the first 3 to 5 games, let's just say the next 5 games, after the NBA trade deadline ends on Thursday, give the teams that have a very new look, i.e. the Utah Jazz, the Memphis Grizzlies, maybe even the Cavs now having James Harden, you have to give these teams 5 games before putting, I would probably say before putting any money on them, but before putting a lot of money on them, or your normal amount of money you would bet on something, give the time to see how these new teams look with their new players. I mean, if you're normally going, Spida, Donovan Mitchell for the Cavs, I'm usually target his assists or his rebounds or points. I mean, now that he's got James Harden, which demands the ball a lot, another ball hog, if you will, how is that going to affect the normalcy of what we expect from Donovan Mitchell? So just things like that. So 5 games starting Friday. As I guess it depends on if the players are shipped that quickly. So let's say James Harden. I know the Cavs are actually playing the Clippers. I think it's tonight, but I know that those new look teams aren't ready to play yet. Yeah. So the last game of the night is actually the 2 teams that just swapped Garland for Harden. But I don't think those players are going to be playing for the opposing team for their new teams yet. I don't know. Maybe they will. I mean, who knows? Maybe they will. But give the new look teams 5 games of actually having the new look. So let's say, for example, Harden's not playing for the Cavs tonight, just for argument's sake. He's not, which I don't think he will be. We'll look at the rosters in a second. But let's say he's not playing for Cavs, and let's say that Garland's not playing for the Clippers. That game does not count towards the 5-game watch period. You have to see how these teams are using these players once the players are officially playing for the new teams before ramping up your betting to what it was prior to the trade season chaos. If that doesn't make sense, I hope it should make sense, but if it doesn't make sense, it's okay. Just ask questions, follow-up questions in the Discord, which again, if you need help, just ask for help. If you're not in the 22,000 member Discord yet, You are not trying hard enough to be successful. I do not care what your excuse is. It's a free app to download on your phone. It is a free Discord to join. It is very easy to ask questions. You just tap on a channel and you type in a question. You ask a question, we'll answer your question. So, no unders until Friday. New look teams. If there's anything that has changed with the starting five, let's just say that. If anything's changed with the starting five, if there's a new player playing in the starting five or a player that was previously playing got shipped off, new look starting fives, give them 5 games of them playing together, getting that chemistry before you bet the normal amount on those players or teams. Now, the play we targeted yesterday was I just had a brain fart on his name. Man. Holy crap. I was thinking of saying like 2 or 3 things at the same time. And so when my brain was kind of going 3 different ways on how I wanted to start talking about our play yesterday, forgot the name of the player. But we were looking at Watson for the Nuggets. See, I was almost going to say Broncos because my brain's stuck on Super Bowl Sunday, which, good segue, we have a show that's been available for 2 weeks. Have you watched it yet? No, the line's probably changed because you're taking your sweet time, but you should check anyway. Watch the Super Bowl Sunday show on this YouTube channel. So anyway, we targeted Watson, and something I've been saying this for years, but I've definitely been harping on it a lot more in the last month, is how your mentality should be when it comes to sports betting. Don't bet if you're not having fun. If you're not having fun, don't bet, because that's part of betting, is having fun, watching a game, having action on the game, knowing that if you lose, that you did everything correct, you followed all the guidelines, you followed all the checklists, and it just was, hey, stuff happens. But yesterday was a perfect, prime example of a bet is not a loser until it is a loser. A bet is a winner until it is not. That is your focus when you are betting on sports. Now, if you did everything we told you to do yesterday, you did over 15.5 points for Peyton Watson of the Denver Nuggets, you're probably sweating a little bit at halftime. I mean, you're kind of hoping that people are kind of going to be on pace, but it's okay if they're not. Things can happen. This man finished I believe he only had 2 points at halftime. And so, yeah, maybe a little drop of sweat, a bead of sweat will fall from the side of your temple, if you will. But it's okay, because we remember what Travis taught us and what he keeps saying in every show. A bet is a winner until it's not. At halftime, if he has 2 points, does that mean we lost our bet? No, because we bet on the full freaking game. This guy, actually, they were down by like 20-something points, and the Nuggets came back, and I think they tied it at one point, maybe. But Watson got... He created contact and he got himself to the foul line quite often in the fourth quarter, where he finished with 17 points and everybody hit, because a bet is a winner until it is not. It is okay to have a little bead of sweat falling from the side of your temple, but if you're complaining when a bet still hasn't lost, all you're doing is making betting not fun for you. Early tilting, it's not how we bet. A bet is a winner until it is not. Focus on that, and you'll have a much greater time, enjoyment, if you will, of betting on sports. So we have a handful of games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I haven't looked at the Cleveland Clippers game, but I assume they're not just gonna play for the... I mean, I guess we've seen it before, but I don't know. We'll see when we pull it up. But let's see what we like here. So we're on points. The first thing we always do, which is part of your copy and paste. The reason why I go through this entire process, the reason why the shows aren't 10 seconds long, because it's not about the play, it's about the process. You need to be remembering every nook and cranny, every golden nugget of what I'm saying, of what I'm doing on the screen. So when you are looking to bet something for NBA tomorrow, and maybe we don't have a show tomorrow, you can just copy and paste what we did today, tomorrow, and you're more likely to find what I would have found anyway if I did do a show. Okay, so what I want to know first is the projected rosters for these two teams. Are they going to be... Yeah, so it's not... So yeah, Garland's not playing and James Harden, yeah. So I assume they weren't going to just... That's not going to happen. I mean, we've seen things where like Joe Flacco gets traded or signed and he plays like the next day. We've seen things like that. But I wasn't expecting that for here. So this is when I'm looking at stuff like this is what my mind's thinking. So the reason why the guidelines and what we're teaching you in the checklist are so successful isn't because I'm the best bettor in the world. I'm not. But I have a very, very above average, elevated level of logic and strategy. And so I apply that logic and strategy to sports betting, and that's why that's what creates the guidelines and everything. Like there's nobody else out there that has a baby line. We're the only company, the only brand that has a baby line, because logic and strategy is built into filtering out baby lines. And so that's why like you're seeing things that nobody has a trifecta. Trifecta for everyone else is a horse racing term. Nobody else has that. Nobody else has... There's so many things that they don't have that we have, because I approach sports betting in a different way to make you as successful as possible. I don't just feed you 6-pick, 10-pick parlays and call it a day, because that's how you light your money on fire, which the people that are giving you that are okay with you lighting your money on fire, because in the one time out of a trillion times they hit, well, hey, guess what? They have a bunch of people sharing screenshots of a 10-pick parlay everybody won together, but they're just using that as marketing. And so they're not counting the fact that it took them 30 days to hit one of their 10-pick parlays, if they even do. But anyway, logic and strategy, this is what my mind thinks is going to happen. If you are an NBA player, so the projected roster for the Cavs, I believe, is James Harden, point guard, or no, maybe, I don't know who's going to run point. Let's just say Donovan Mitchell stays at point and James Harden plays shooting guard. Dean Wade, I think, is going to move to small forward. Then when Mobley's healthy, he'll be at power forward and Jarrett Allen will be at center. So essentially what I'm saying is Merrill and Tyson are the two guys out once these guys are both back on the team, right? I mean, Struss and Wade might battle for small forward, who knows? But what I'm trying to tell you is my logic and strategy sense. If you were Sam Merrill, and you know that you're going to be going, you're projected to start in this game, and then, hey, maybe James Harden plays as a starting shooting guard in the next game. This is your last game you're going to be starting for the NBA, barring any injuries. So wouldn't you want to like go above and beyond and show out? Now, if the AI doesn't say that, then it doesn't matter. But if we're looking at things here today, with players playing that are starting, getting starter minutes just because the team's new acquisitions their plane hasn't landed yet, that's something that's going to be very interesting to me. I don't know if I want to touch... I definitely don't want to touch any game where a team shipped off or collected like 3 players or more. But in this one, it was just a swap of players. I mean, I think the Cavs also sent a second-round pick along with Darius Garland, but just something to keep in the back of our minds. So it looks like we're going to be fading all Knicks players because A, we're not going under because the trade deadline rule I gave you, and then B, they're playing on a back-to-back. They just played last night, so we don't want to touch them. That says B to B just means they played the day before, so there's a little bit extra fatigue they had because they haven't really had a lot of time to rest. So I'm just going to do a quick scan here and see if there's anything. Man, that B to B, it sucks because that B to B is on like that's a green here. So there's no real difference as we go down. Okay. I don't see any blowouts either in this slate. I'm going down through like all these players. Actually, we can just make that easier by going to the moneyline predictor, spread predictor. Are there any blowouts? 1.5, 5.5, 2.5, 2.5, 6.5, 4.5, 1.5. Nope. Out of all the games today, there's no team that's projected to win by 10 points or more. And that's kind of what we target for avoiding blowouts. If you see a spread that's like maybe a 9.5 or 10.5 or higher, that's what we try to avoid for the overs. Because we don't want to get our players benched in the fourth quarter because their team's down by 1 million points, or benched because their team's up by 1 million points. Okay. So who did we just target? There was a center we targeted recently against Zubac, and it didn't work out for us. What was that play? I think it 2 shows or 3 shows ago. I gotta pull up the NBA schedule here real quick. I'm looking for... Oh, it was Embiid. That was on Monday. So we targeted Embiid versus Zubac, who's the starting center for the Clippers, right? And Embiid had the same thing happen to him that Peyton Watson we had with our play yesterday. And I thought it might be a repeat of that, where they are doing cardio in the first half. I think Embiid had 4 points at halftime. Peyton Watson had 2 points at halftime. But Peyton Watson's line was only 15.5, which is a lot easier to hit in the second half than the line we had for Embiid, which I think was like 27 points or 28 points he needed to hit. He had 4 points, but then he had a monster second half, and so he finished with, I think, 25, so just a few points missed. So I don't think... They won by... He got the same amount of minutes he would have got regardless. He got 32 minutes, so not anything too bad. He scored 24 points. He was 8 for 19 shooting. But again, almost all of that was the second half. So Jarrett Allen's line is a lot less. 14.5. It's not the 28, 29 that was needed. He had a monster game against Portland, but it looks like he's got double digits most of these games. There's only 2 games he was shy of double digits. He's getting double digits, but it's still not enough on average. Last 5, last 20 this season. I mean, who knows? I mean, if James Harden is shooting the ball with his eyes closed like he likes to do so much, Jarrett Allen's probably going to get a lot of offensive rebounds and putback options, but that's not this game because Harden's not playing. But it's interesting to note that Embiid was able to get like 20 points in the second half against the Clippers. Which is funny because that's essentially that's not what this is showing, but it's funny that the first half, this is what Embiid was doing, and the second half, this is what Embiid was doing. Close game. Garland wasn't already playing for the Cavs. Garland, I think, is still recovering from injury. Harden was playing for the Clippers. So the only real difference from these teams is that Harden's not playing for the Clippers. But that doesn't really help. I don't know if that helps Jarrett Allen point-wise. Let's keep looking. So we're not even going to look at the under because we're not targeting unders until Friday. So this guy doesn't have green, but he doesn't have red. He doesn't have back-to-back. And he's the only player that has a difference of 10% or higher that we can say that about. Every other player has a back-to-back or one of the rankings are red or both. And then Brandon Ingram. Very consistent. So his line is 20.5 and he's got 19 points or more in 9 of the last 10 games. He's got 19 points and his line is 20.5. So that's just another bucket he would have had to make in these 4 games here and he would be 90%. So that's an important thing as well. So he's like, oh, what if his L5 is 20% or this is that or this is that? Look at the data. Like if these reds were like super low and he was very hot and cold, yeah, then it would be more important. But 19 points or more. So I'll show you what I mean here. So let's go down here to the alt line. So essentially, if his line was 18.5, look at that, a 90% hit rate. So we see everything here. He hit 19 points or higher. So one more bucket, and he's 9 out of 10, 90%. Let's look at the roster here. He's been out forever, not worried about that. We targeted IQ, was it Friday of last week? When we're watching like that game, like Brandon Ingram was taking all the shots. Like Ingram's definitely the main scoring threat of this team, which is why his line's at 20.5. Let's look at the other team. Okay. Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards are both questionable. Julius Randle has played all of the team's last 10 games. Anthony Edwards has played 8 of the team's last 10 games. So, Anthony Edwards being the shooting guard, we would have to believe that these defensive rankings are essentially Anthony Edwards because more often than not, the positions more often than not match each other on defense. And so let's just say that Anthony Edwards has these ratings as his defense. If he doesn't play, I believe these get a lot closer to green. You have to pay attention to the number here. So this says 55, this says 56. Remember, 1 to 50 is red. So this is 5 away from red and 6 away from red. This consistency though of 19 points or more. The last the last 10 games, 19 points or more. So you just need to make one more bucket in a game that has a 2.5 line. So I really like these super small ones because that gives us the potential for overtime. And overtime, when you're looking at overs, it's not called undertime, it's called overtime. Overtime is good for overs. But I don't think, if he plays, this is the defensive ranking. But if he doesn't play, I feel like this gets better. So I don't think these injury concerns on Minnesota, whether he plays or not, changes this from a play or to not a play. He's protected the same amount of minutes. So what we're going to do here is we're going to back pocket this. If you're new here, back pocket means we don't absolutely hate it, but we're not 1000% in love with it. So we're going to put it in our back pocket and see if we like anything else. I already told you we're not going to touch B2Bs. We're not going to touch players of red. This is interesting here, but again, this is almost the same difference between the line of projection as Brandon Ingram. Let me look at this roster real quick. Josh Hart questionable. Man, they're pretty banged up. This is the same team. Oh, so they're both of these teams played yesterday. So both of these teams on a back-to-back. That's interesting to note. You don't get that all the time. Yeah, the Nuggets played the Pistons, lost by 3 because we had Watson on over points. And then the Knicks played the Wizards and won by 31. Wow. They destroyed the Wizards. So Bridges, so the starters, okay. So this is where back-to-back is okay now because we look at more things. So what I just did is I pulled up the exact amount of minutes played, which you can see here. So Mikal Bridges against the Wizards got 23, right? But also pay attention to 26. He got 23 in 26 minutes. So I'm looking at the entire roster real quick on how many minutes they played in the last game. And it looks like because there was a blowout, only one player on the entire Knicks team played more than 27 minutes, when normally you would get like 35 minutes on a full-time starter. There were 4 people off the bench for the Knicks that got 21 minutes. There are 4 bench people that have 3 of 21, and then Hukporty's got 22. Brunson had 31 as a starter, Bridges at 26, Hart 22, Towns 26. Yeah, so they didn't put in like a full game effort. So the back-to-back isn't them playing their normal like 30, and you'd be like, okay, Travis, what is the normal playing time? That's why we have this right here. He normally gets 32 minutes a game, and he had 6 minutes less because they had a blowout. All of these starters, with the exception of Cat, are getting 31 plus minutes. But none of these players, every single player here, every single player in yesterday's game played like a few minutes less than their average. So it's not like they played a full 4 quarters of their normal playing. So this back-to-back isn't that alarming. However, the Nuggets, let's go to yesterday's game. First, the Pistons, because the Nuggets came back in the second half, like Peyton Watson had 38 minutes, Murray had 37, Jokic had 33, Murray, 33, 37, 38. So the Nuggets are probably a little bit more tired than the Knicks are, because the Knicks had a blowout and the Nuggets did not. Problem with Bridges, though, is that he doesn't have the same consistency that Ingram does. Like, he's getting these mini scores. Oh, boom, I covered. Like, 30 points or 10 points. Granted, Denver's defense for players playing the small forward spot, very squishy. So let's go to his calendar real quick. So this is a feature I really like that we added recently. So what was his rank against Washington? Washington was also red, and it was a blowout, so we kind of faded that because we weren't sure of the playing time, which, I mean, granted, the playing time was accurate because they played a lot less minutes because there was a blowout. But he had a green again, scored a lot of points. But then the previous game did not score a lot of points. Was that a green or a orange or a red? Let's see. Oh, it was a green. So this is a green, and he definitely underperformed. This was February 1st. Knicks and Lakers. They won by 12 points. It wasn't like a crazy blowout. He was 0 from 6 for deep, 5-12 shooting, only scored 10 points. But they still won the game. Looks like Shamet off the bench got most of the points there. Man. Okay, I'm going to look at some other stuff. So I don't hate this one, and I don't hate this one. So these are two that we're going to back pocket for now. We're going to see if there's anything that just lights the light bulbs better. So for the first time in many shows, we're actually going to dip into other things. So after points, look at rebounds. Oh, did I not click it right? There. Oh, yeah. There's nobody that has a rebound slide of 14 or higher. We should probably reset that filter. Kevin Durant's coming back from injury management, I believe it was. So this is his first game back. He only missed one game, though. He hasn't played in, he played 4 days ago. He's been very consistent where he's gotten 4 or more rebounds 9 out of the last 10 games. So he's 1 rebound away here and here from being 9 out of 10. So again, consistency. So when I talk about the injury problem, what I've been saying in the shows, what I've been saying in Discord is you're kind of looking at the 5-day mark. Has the player played in the last 5 days? If no, then you might want to not touch him. But the fact that he only missed a game, and it's probably just because he's old, because if he has a nagging injury, then I don't think he's going to miss 1 game. But let's just go ahead and see real quick. Why he... Looks like it was an ankle injury. He missed Rockets game versus Pacers due to sprained left ankle. He stepped on a fan's foot in a recent game. How the crap do you step on a fan's foot? Was it like on the sideline? I didn't see that clip. So you need your ankles working to jump. So we might avoid this one because ankles are important when it comes to rebounds. Red, red, no touchy-touchy. Playing on a back-to-back. How many minutes did he play last game? 11 rebounds. Go to points real quick to look at his full stuff. Played 38 minutes. Man. He's been a rebound monster. That back-to-back scares me, though. He's gotten 7 or more rebounds. 8 straight games. Would have been 100%. 100% last 5. Would have been 100% last 10, but he missed by 1 against Atlanta. I'm trying to use my logic strategy that I mentioned earlier in the show to think about which stats are more haunted by fatigue than others. I feel like rebounds is half grit and half luck, because like if you're like on one side of the hoop and the ball bounces the other way, you're not really going to get the rebound. But if the ball comes straight to you, I just think that like if you're winded, it's easier to get a rebound. Or if you feel fatigue, I feel like it's easier to get a rebound than most other stats. I could be wrong on that. I didn't play basketball. I don't know if you can tell. I've never played basketball really. I played all the other sports. Because I'm wondering if we can still look at him even though he played 36 minutes last game. These are pretty close to red. This is 1 away from red. This is 4 away from red. Or 5. Back to back again. But he's part of the Knicks and he didn't play that many minutes last game. Man. These back-to-backs are messing me up. I think the Knicks are still okay on back-to-backs. I forgot to do the filter for the rebounds here. Let's do 4. Increasing levels of rebounds. 9, 10, 13, 14, 16. Boston just traded for Vooch. Vooch is not going to be playing in this game. Yeah, Vooch is definitely not. It says questionable, but there ain't no way he's playing in this game. I don't see it happening. So Nemius Queta is going to be the starting center. Boston also playing on a back-to-back. So if we say, oh, there is fatigue when their rebounds do experience fatigue when people are playing on back-to-backs. Well, this is good. That means Sengun? I never pronounce his name right. Alperin. Let's just call him Alperin. I think it's Sengun. I think the U has like 2 dots over it, like an umlaut. Anywho, no back-to-backs, no blowouts. Decent difference for rebounds. 100% head-to-head, which you can't just take that. You have to click on this. So he did play against Boston this season. He got 10, which covered the line. Let's go through the checklist. Not a baby line. Give me a second here. I'm going to go in order. Whenever I say them, I go out of order. Let me see. Okay. Not a baby line. The AI leans the over. Enough difference. The sports books lean the same side as the AI. The defensive matchup is green-green. There's no playing time or injuries that are alarming. Kevin Durant is probable, but again, his ankle isn't the best. But his line is only 4.5 rebounds anyway, so it's not like he's going to be a rebound beast and take a lot of Alperin's rebounds. Also, with a bad ankle, you're probably not going to be jumping a lot, which is why we didn't look at him in the first place. Well, I mean, we looked at him, but why we didn't consider him in the first place. And the spread's not a potential blowout, so this checks all 6 boxes. Okay, so we got to this point. Do we like this more than Ingram points or McCall points? I don't like McCall points. He's too hot and cold. There's way too many ups and downs. And you have to factor the back-to-back, which said doesn't really matter for the Knicks because they didn't play full minutes. But if we just wipe out back-to-back completely, I think this is the first thing that looks good, like around, and it checks all 6 boxes. So what do we do now, ladies and gents? We see if we can get a better line and or better odds. Because the goal of sports betting is when you are right, you want to make sure that you get the most amount of money possible. So everyone's got them at the same one. It looks like the best overs, for whatever reason, BetMGM favors the under, so the overs got the better payout, which is why that's highlighted green. So yeah, it took us a second to get there, but I think if this game's close, as long as Houston doesn't absolutely destroy Boston having the back-to-back, what's the money line say about this game? Is it supposed to be a blowout or no? Let's see. Where is Boston? Here. Okay, so it says that Boston should keep this a slightly closer game than what the Vegas predicts. So that would be Boston covering the spread, which would be 51%. So yeah, essentially, both these combined, the money line and the spread says that this should not be a double-digit win for Houston. It should be about 5 points. Okay. The important thing is that you watched this entire video and didn't fast forward to the end like a psychopath who likes shooting themselves in the foot. So remember everything that I taught you about why it is important to focus on certain things and to avoid certain things this week during the trade deadline. It's very important not to force things either, as we went through a bunch of the point stuff. Nothing what we were in love with, we just back pocketed it, go over to rebounds, bada bing, bada boom. We found something that checks all the boxes. For you, once you mastered muscle memory, the checklist, as you see our VIPs doing in Discord, it takes 5 seconds. You pull up the app, you already know you can go check things real quickly, and in 5 seconds you can find a winning play. Or the most optimal play on the app. The reason why these videos aren't 5 seconds long is because I have to go through the entire process in a slow and exact manner, because I know there's so many people out there that are watching these videos for the first time, and they're like, how do I use this app? This app is so much different from everything else in the market. I need to know how to use this. And so that's why we're going in these baby steps and why I'm saying everything that goes through my mind so you know exactly how to use this app. So for Saturday, for Super Bowl Sunday, for any day that we don't have a show, And even for today that we don't have, for this show, if you were like, oh, I want to find more things on the app just from this one thing, just copy and paste what I did. Pull up the app, do the exact same process I just taught you. Go take a screenshot when you find something you like, post it in the Discord. Hey guys, I found this on the app. Am I using the app correctly? Am I reading this right? 22,000 other people being there like, hey, yeah, you're actually using this right. That's a good play. Or no, you need to go back and check the checklist for number 3 or number 4. It doesn't seem to be checking that box. That's why we have the best betting Discord on the planet, because nothing but helpful people. There are no trolls. There's no toxicity. We get rid of all of those psychopaths. Never be afraid to ask questions. That is how you get better. The only way you don't get better is by not asking questions. We'll see you guys in the Discord. Good luck.